presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit it. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day, and I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's a work week for Oregon football as the Ducks continue practicing. Dan Lanning met with the media today after practice. Oregon was inside the Michovsky Center today. We'll hear from Coach Lanning. We're also going to talk with our sideline reporter, Dusty Harrah. Every Wednesday, we check in with Dusty. We didn't make him drive down from Portland today. No pregame interviews to do, which means the beauty of modern technology, he's going to join us remotely. We'll talk with Dusty. We get to show you the inside of Dusty Harrah's office today. I'm sure Dusty is thrilled about that. Dusty Harrah will join us here coming up. His thoughts from the sidelines of that Penn State whiteout where the Ducks took home the victory to remain undefeated. Oregon up to number 2 in the national polls. Both Oregon and Indiana on a bye this week before a top 10 battle at Autzen Stadium at 12:30 next Saturday. Oregon welcoming Indiana. Today, the Ducks also announced the Shout for the Ducks campaign. We are in the NIL era of college athletics, and due to the House settlement, that means University of Oregon, among every other university, have a greater ability to give financial aid and financial benefits to student athletes. More details will be in your email inbox if you receive Duck Mail, and visit GoDucks.com as the Ducks launch the Shout for the Ducks campaign. I mean, shout. You get it? Well done. Well done. We're also going to talk with Tracy Joyner, head coach Oregon Soccer, on the program today as her Ducks get ready to face USC Friday at 1 o'clock. Take a late lunch. Leave work early. Maybe you don't go back to the office after Oregon faces USC and hopefully comes away with a win at Pape Field on Friday. Some honors for Oregon cross country as well that we'll tell you about. And programming note, no coaches show tonight. We will not have an Oregon football coaches show here during the work week. We will be back on the air for the Oregon football coaches show coming up tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next week. But we'll have Duck Insider for you tomorrow for sure. Now, Dan Lanning, every time we talk with the Oregon football head coach, it's brought to you by our friends at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. You probably saw Dan Lanning even wearing the Give Cancer Hell shirts like a lot of the Ducks were last week, which was a pretty powerful statement. Coach Lanning meeting with the media in his work week press conference after practice this morning.
All right. Everybody's doing good. We just finished a good walkthrough with our team. This has been, a work week for us, an opportunity to get healthy and attack some of our strengths, attack some of our weaknesses, and find ways to improve. But team's working good and in a really good mindset.
After the game, in the midst of all the chaos, you kind of let out a primal scream. I'm curious what was going through your mind in that moment, if you even remember that moment and just what that felt like.
Yeah, I was just jacked, man. I was excited.
Coach, as a defensive guy, you spend a lot of time working on ways to disrupt quarterbacks. From that vantage point, how impressed are you with Dante's ability to remain unflappable, and how much of a challenge is it going to be for other coaches to figure out a way to get in his head?
Yeah, his calm and the poise is really impressive, and I think he carried a narrative early when he left UCLA. If you pressure this guy, it's not going to be the same. Well, obviously, he's a different quarterback, right? He handles pressure extremely well. He protects the ball. Even the big third down conversion to Kenyon, across, that's a throw that a lot of times you tell your quarterback, don't make that throw. Oh, good. I'm glad you made that throw, right? And he has those moments. His ability to make decisions and pressure moments this year has been really impressive.
The Brett Favre throw, right?
If it works, right? Yeah.
Sort of following up on Zach's question, we hear players talk about what it's like to play in these games. What's it like to coach in these games and the emotions and kind of the adrenaline?
Yeah, I didn't play a single snap, and I'm the guy cramping on the plane ride home. Like, you feel like you played a game. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. And again, a game that could have gone either way that it's really refreshing to be on the other end of that when it does. But everybody in our program put everything they had into that game.
Dylan makes that game-sealing pick, and he's kind of in that like high linebacker spot where he can play the run and the pass, and that's exactly what he does in that one. But what makes him such a special player where you want him in that role?
Yeah, just his level of intelligence to handle a lot. We pitch a lot to a guy that's really been in our program 1 year, and he puts in the work to be able to execute at a really high level. Man, he's a good tackler. He's physical. He does a good job in coverage. He checks a lot of boxes. So you want part of a job as a coach is put guys in positions that they're going to be productive in a system, and that's what we feel like. With Dylan, he's been very productive in that role. For us, and we're putting him in a position for him to have success and our team to have success.
Gotten clarification from the Big Ten on the targeting call that wasn't, and regardless of targeting, why it wasn't even unnecessary roughness?
Yeah, but basically what was explained to me is there's a difference in college rule and the NFL rule, as far as head contact, and I think it's something that will be addressed hopefully in the future, probably a rule that needs to be reestablished. But again, it's about was there contact with the crown of the helmet from the defender, and that wasn't necessarily, it didn't happen.
Coach, at the beginning of the season, you talked about how much you would take talent over experience any day. Now that this team has the talent and the experience, how much more dangerous do you feel like this team has become in the last couple of weeks, and what's it been like watching them become that over the last couple of weeks?
I think we have a good team. I don't think anybody can tell you what your team is, early in the season. The key is that this team's grown every week, and that's the key is that we have to continue to grow, right? You can't be satisfied with the growth we had because other teams will grow. And the teams that continue to grow and get better every single week, that's going to give you the best version of you at the end of the year. So ultimately, love the position that we're in, but only love it if we keep watering the plant and keep growing, keep getting better.
Dante was obviously emotional after the game. You shared a special moment with him. A hug after that. I'm curious what that moment was like and what you might have said to him in that moment.
I love you. It's just, and it's not because of how well he played. It's about the buy-in. It's about the work that he's put in. It's about the extra time. It's about the way he treats his teammates. It's the composure that he shows, the way he makes people around him. He talked earlier about Noah Whittington getting on him in practice because of a lack of focus and him not operating the way that he wanted to, and how much he appreciated knowing that moment. And now on the reverse end, him being able to say, "I want to go pick Noah up" after that play is almost fumble, and like that we have leaders on our team that can go back and forth and challenge each other to be the best version of themselves. I think that's really special, and that's part of what Dante's done here.
What's the most beneficial part of where this bye lies between Penn State and then another big matchup against Indiana?
Yeah, in a lot of ways it fell in the right spot for us. I felt like we just played one of our most physical games. So the recovery piece I think is really huge for us. This bye week I've set it up differently than I have in the past based on recovery and time for our guys. It's also beginning of school for our guys. It's a great time to be able to start school, right? In a unique time where it doesn't necessarily affect us in the middle of a game week. So our guys can really attack the classroom the way they need to be able to attack the classroom. And it's a great time for us to go back. We have enough of a picture, right, of what our team is so far where we can really assess what do we do well and what do we not, and what are some of our strong tendencies on both sides of the ball that we need to make sure that we can address. And great teams have tendencies, so some of those we'll keep, right? We're going to maintain those tendencies, but some of those we can certainly sprinkle in some wrinkles that make us different.
From a coach's perspective, can you talk a little bit about seeing Gary Bryant overcome, he's transferred and injuries, and now he's producing. And he said he wanted to also be a mentor to some of the younger guys. How has he done in that area? And has he helped bring some kind of calmness maybe and help to Dante as well?
Yeah, I think Gary is a pillar, right, of our program and the way he operates, what he does. He's one of the most trusted players on our team, from an assignment standpoint, that he's going to do his job consistently. He's never been a me guy. He's always been a we guy. And I think that really shows, in that game. I don't know how much action he got, and then you get into overtime and he makes a huge play, right, and is able to go execute at a really high level. But that's exactly who he is in practice every day. He's going to run on every route full speed regardless if the ball comes his way or not. He's going to block his tail off. He's going to know his assignment. He's going to be there for his teammates, and obviously a great example of that on Saturday.
Sort of similar to you, Indiana had a fair amount of turnover, and especially at some big positions, and here they are undefeated. What does that say about Kurt and kind of the program they're running?
Well, they're obviously really well coached. They've got a team that plays really hard. They're getting great quarterback play. I think you have to have a good team. You got to have good quarterback play. They have that, and they're a tough team to go operate against. They're doing some good things, and we're not too far ahead right now on Indiana. We're really more on us, but just from afar and glancing at them, you can see a lot of that.
To be able to go into an environment like that and no operational issues on the offensive line. We saw Poncho's communication there, but when you have a group that there's not really that continuity because he's the only returning starter, how important is he as the center specifically, kind of bringing that continuity and that communication to that O-line to operate in an environment?
Yeah, huge. Poncho did an unbelievable job, and I give a lot of credit to Coach Terry, Coach Cutter, Coach Walk, all those guys throughout the week of creating chaos throughout the week. Demanding communication from those guys, and then those guys having the same demands for themselves. But Poncho did an elite job. Dave Iuli, half the game he's looking backwards, right? And then he has to turn around and play guard. That's hard, right? And he did an unbelievable job of that. Manuel Pregnon had one of his best games. There's that whole unit. We operate as that. How well they do is how well we do, and they did a really good job.
Looked like Dalen's arm got rolled pretty awkwardly. What's his status?
I think he's going to be in good shape. It's been something that's bothered him in a couple games this year, but I think he's going to be good.
Kind of taking a transition to the NFL. Dylan today was named starting quarterback for Cleveland heading into this next week.
Officially?
I believe so, but I guess I can double check and then confirm it again.
No, you're good if it's official. I just don't want to say anything that I didn't see.
Yeah, I want to make sure. I checked NFL and Adam Scheffler, and I believe that everything should have seemed legit. So what are your thoughts on just another quarterback being, a starting quarterback that's been under your leadership?
I'm excited for Dylan. Right, he's a guy that works extremely hard, and I know he won't take it for granted. He still has done an unbelievable job of staying connected with our players here, which is pretty awesome for a guy that's moved on to the next phase of his life that still touches base with our team. But I'm excited for him, excited for his opportunity. I know he'll make the absolute best of it.
You guys said you had an aggressive mindset in this game. Obviously, 7 fourth down attempts. Going into that first overtime, you have a chance to go for 2 and put away the game. I'm not at all questioning the decision. I'm just curious what went into that decision and how close was the call that you made?
I just think sometimes, there's moments that you want to leave it to the players, right? And the coaching staff and what we've pieced together, and then there's moments that you want it to play out on the field. And in my mind, being that was the end of the first overtime, we know we make the kick, we get to go to the second overtime. I feel like that's giving your players a chance to go have success. We hadn't had a 2-point play against them yet. So a lot of times that comes down to, okay, 2-point play, like what do you think they're going to be in? Do you like your call? And with us the unknowns to me spoke a lot more than the knowns, right? We had a lot of fourth downs. You'd love to say go convert third down. You don't have that many fourth downs. But at that point in the game, when we get to the 7th, 4th down, we got a pretty good idea of what they're going to be in and will this work, right? When you go to that first overtime and you go to the first 2-point play of the game, do you know what that's going to look like? They had a good defense when we did have to go for 2 after that second overtime. So in my mind, it's let it play out in the field, give your players an opportunity to win the game. And I don't know if you're giving them the best chance to go win the game when you go for 2 there and you don't know what the opponent's going to do. Right, it's really a limited, amount of time for Coach Knowles there at Penn State at that moment. Defending us, what would that look like? We had ran a 2-point play in the Ohio State game the year before and felt like, okay, this could be something that they were in, but the unknowns is probably what made me say, let's let our players play it out on the field more than the knowns.
We saw Dier have kind of a bit of a breakout game and a larger workload, at least in terms of touches, than in previous games. Like how big of an impact can he have in this offense?
A huge one. And I think that's shown. I think every week we've come in here and said, watch, his role is going to continue to grow. And when you take advantage of opportunities, it'll continue to grow.
Pat McAfee mentioned on game day that you texted him, kind of giving him some crap about them wearing all white. I'm curious to know if he sent you a text after the game and what he said.
Yeah, I also texted him, hey, don't say this on air. And then he said it on air. But I wasn't even going to text him, but I'm sitting in the hotel room in Altoona with my son Titan, and I'm making some of my notes for the game. And Titan looks over and he goes, that's so disrespectful. I was like, what? He goes, all the guys on game day are wearing white. And I thought Pat would get a kick out of that. Titan was pretty fired up, so I sent that text. But, yeah, after the game, he sent me a text. I don't remember exactly what it said.
Poise is the word we've heard a lot of people say with Dante and the way he was able to handle that environment. But when you look at some of the plays he was able to make on the field, the touchdown to Gary to end it, where he steps around Dennis Sutton and he's staying calm out there, and he's able to make those plays off script. What impressed you about that, where he can do that, but also not put the ball in jeopardy at any time?
Yeah, I think you see those in practice for us. So for you guys, it's new, and for us, it's something we've seen him do consistently. You know, even the scramble play on the third down that he throws, the Decorian, like that's not on script. That's not the way it's supposed to play out. But what's that take? It takes more than just Dante, right? It takes a wideout being in the right location. It takes him getting that work in practice, and I think Dante would tell you, I got that work in practice. I've seen that. I've experienced that. I was ready for that moment. You know, Coach Stein and Coach Koa have set that drill up for me where I've experienced it already, and then for it to show up in a game and execute, it's pretty awesome.
Why wasn't Mekhi part of the trip this past week, and what's his status right now with the program then?
Yeah, he's asked a red shirt, and we honored that opportunity for him.
I know you said that you're not really on to Indiana yet. You're more focused on yourself. You guys played Mendoza a couple years ago when he was with Cal. What do you remember from seeing him then, and how's he grown since then?
Yeah, just he's a talented quarterback. You know, we had some success that day, but he also had some success as well. And I think you've seen that this is a guy that can play football at a high level.
Just the way you're kind of went in the trenches on Saturday, I'm curious just kind of on what the message was going in and kind of the celebration afterwards, just with those particular players being dominant on both sides.
Yeah, we just thought that battle was really important. We didn't play to our standard in the Big Ten championship, especially in the second half when it came to controlling the line of scrimmage defensively. And I thought we had much better answers as a coaching staff for our players too, to help them to be able to do that. But our D line stepped up big. Our offensive line stepped up big. We thought the rushing battle would be really important in this game. When you're talking about two good teams, two good defenses. Whoever could, stay on schedule in this game. Time of possession isn't something we talk about very often, but I think we were high in that category in this game because we were able to maintain drives and we were able to sustain or stop drives for them. So all those things really factored in, and the trenches was a big part of that.
You use your term, Dan, when you look at opposing teams and refer to snakes, how many of those snakes did you render proverbially cutting off the heads of snakes this past week, and how did that compare to your tenure here?
I don't know necessarily the answer to that question. Ultimately, I mean, they had some success in the game, and I think they found some stuff that they were doing well. But obviously, their backs were a big part of that, right? Their edges were a big. There's several pieces in that game. Ultimately, I think we challenged a lot of players to do job at a high level, and I think our players did that. You don't look at that game afterwards and say, did this guy play? Like, it took our team's best, and several guys played to the standard in that game.
Coach, obviously to have a game against Penn State last week, but then to have a week to get off and get ready for Indiana next week, just how good does it feel to have that matchup at home in Autzen and to be able to show the crowd that what type of team this is, and again for a top 10 matchup, but in Autzen Stadium and instead maybe not on television?
Yeah, I mean, we just experienced an unbelievable environment, and I'm excited to experience ours, right? We prepared all week for a real challenge of what's this going to look like. Playing a place where you don't have that on your side. Now at Autzen, this would be something that can be an advantage for us and something we will have on our side. And I expect our fans to be what they always are, right? Unbelievably enthused, right? There from beginning to end. And anything about going in this conference and going around to games, you realize there's a lot of really hard environments to play in this conference. I hope that Autzen's always the hardest, right? That's what we want to create when we're here.
Yeah, I'd like to create that too, as Dan Lanning meets with the media today, brought to you by our friends at the William Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. I'll tell you what, sometimes it's nice to have a week off. Other times it's nice to just continue the momentum. That's the first question that I'm going to ask Dusty Harrah when we come back. We'll see if his voice has recovered from being on the sideline at Penn State, too, on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Instead of making him commute all the way down I-5, we said, well, what if we just, hey, modern technology. Dusty Harrah can just join us by Zoom. And here he is. And look at the office walls. He's got a single basketball, a single football, but that schedule that's on the wall behind you is really nice handwriting, Dusty.
Hey, I've worked on it. It's been a work in progress over my life. I just write in all caps now. So there's nothing I can really do about it. But my third grade teacher would be proud of me. I could say that.
The writing in all capital letters is the right move. Dusty Harrah joins us. Okay, you're talking to us from 105.1, your office, which we have joked about that we're going to have to duck it out for you to really make these interviews go. And then whenever you do an interview that's related to something else or a meeting that's related to something else in your actual job, we just make it very clear. So what else do you need on the wall? What else do I pull from the studio to put on Dusty Harrah's wall?
Well, see, this is the thing is that, like, I need something I can actually put on a wall. I can't put a basketball or a football on a wall yet. So I need a picture. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to take our picture from the Rose Bowl that we all took on the field. You, me, Jerry, and Jorgie, and I'm going to put that in a frame.
Yep, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
But I do have a duck connection in my office here.
I see.
Is a 1989 Lewis and Clark College football team picture that I am in as a 5-year-old.
Let's go.
And the father of Luke Basso, Pat Basso, was on that team. So
yes.
I have a little bit of a connection just right next to me that I see every day.
That's awesome. You have to tell everybody, though, why were you, the 5-year-old Dusty, in the picture?
Yeah, so my dad was a wide receivers coach at Lewis and Clark. He coached at Portland State, Lewis and Clark, and Pacific Universities. And so I was the ball boy, the team mascot, took everywhere. And Luke Basso's dad, Pat, was one of many babysitters over my years that my dad would just drop me off, and I was one of the boys growing up. So great memories and great times with not just the Basso family, but all those guys.
And look at you now. At you now. See, that's great. Dusty Harrah joining us. Okay, has your voice recovered from the sideline experience at Penn State?
Slowly but surely. I think here we are. It's finally Wednesday. And I feel okay. It was a little raspy, and that's just the thing, man. It was loud there. It reminded me a lot of Autzen Stadium a year ago when Ohio State came to town. I've been asked this a lot, and you know this, Joey, just as well as anybody. Loud is loud.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody's like, well, where was it in your top, rank them? And I'm like, I don't know. Loud is loud. It's just a different kind of loud. Like Autzen is like continuous and it doesn't stop and it's unrelenting. Penn State was a loud that came in like bursts at you, where it would get super quiet and then boom, they'd play Mo Bamba and then it'd be a big burst of sound. But loud is loud, and it was one of the loudest places I've been.
So I'll tell you this: there's very few people that have roamed the Oregon sidelines, right? You and I are kind of in a unique group here that can talk about this now, and it occurred to me in hearing everybody ask me that question, you that question, like, for me, what I keep coming back to for Autzen is before the new scoreboard was put in, Dusty, right? Before the new speakers went in that came with that new scoreboard, Autzen hurt my ears. Like, there were moments where I was full blast in our, admittedly, really nice headphones, as you know, and I could not hear a word that Jerry and Georgie were saying because my ears were ringing. Now, then the new speakers go in, and I think that's where Penn State, it struck me like the speaker system really helped. Now, Northwestern had a whole different kind of speaker system experience.
Yes, they did.
But how do you describe that? Like, do you agree? Is that the sort of just definition of loud that Autzen brings with it, that it's just this relentless nature from fans?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what it is. I saw somebody posted to Reddit, and it got forwarded on to me. If Penn State is Rudy, Autzen Stadium is Saw.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a pretty good way to do it. I would go with, like, it's just continuous, it's constant, and that is what makes it kind of the horror movie, as opposed to the feel good story of Rudy and hey, there's some downtime. But I will say that whether it is Autzen Stadium or Beaver Stadium, when you get knowledgeable football fans, because when the offense is on the field, when your offense is on the field, it's as quiet as can be. And whether it's 58,000 people at Autzen Stadium or 111,000 people at Beaver Stadium, like, it gets quiet. It gets quiet when the home offense is on the field, and that's a really cool thing. And that tells you a lot about kind of the football knowledge of the fan base there, because that's not everywhere that's the case.
I agree. It's akin to like Oregon's track and field fans. There's just no fan base more knowledgeable of track and field than those that reside here in Tracktown, USA, and root for the team that resides in Tracktown, USA. I said going to the break, would you rather take the week off or just maintain momentum? How do you feel about that from a football standpoint, from a fan base standpoint too, Dusty?
I really think for the fan base, you just want to go, right? Like, you want to just keep riding that high and feel how good this team is. But from the football standpoint of it, I mean, I think especially when you have another top 10 opponent on the schedule coming up next, it is really beneficial to take a deep breath, decompress a minute, and make sure that you have laser-like focus like they did for Penn State, where it was right when the game got over against Oregon State, you turn the page and you start looking forward to the next team. It's a really hard thing to do when you have an emotionally driven win in double overtime on the road against the top 5 team. So to have this reset, get healthy a little bit, then you can work back into it. I think that is a good thing. And I also think it's very beneficial that Indiana has a bye too.
Yeah.
Because the rest versus rust thing with that week off, both teams are going to have to go through that. And so I think that helps a ton. So I like the bye week here and right now where it is. Just think of last year, right? After the Ohio State game, that was another emotional victory that came down to the wire. Guys were a little bit beat up because of the physicality of the game. They had a short week, had to go to Purdue. They ended up winning 35-0. But I think we can all admit that Purdue was not a top 10 team that was college football playoff contending type team. So to have this week off, I think is huge for Oregon.
Well, and in that game, as the Ducks described, they broke a lot of windows. They inflicted a lot of cuts on Penn State. But the fact is, Penn State inflicted cuts back to Oregon too, right? That's where it's nice to have a week like that as we continue with Dusty Harrah. I'm curious now. We'll revel in this one for sure. Talk about Indiana a lot more next week. What are you watching this weekend? What's on the bye week agenda for you?
Look, it's going to be, a lot of cheerleading, soccer, and the flag football and fall baseball in my house.
That kid.
But
that boy.
but of course I'm going to look. You've dubbed me the sicko for years because I'm just a football sicko here, where I know I'm just my day, every minute in between each one of those events, I'm just going to be sitting there watching football. So I haven't mapped it out yet, but there's going to be a lot of football on the docket. That's for sure.
Good answer to that question. Okay, now to zoom out, though, and actually Dusty won't be with us next week, but don't worry, Chris Clayton's going to be filling in for him for a little football and women's basketball touch. However, that gives me an opportunity to ask you about this. When you think about the context of the season, Dusty, how big is the win over Penn State? And also, how big is the fact that Indiana has become a top 10 team and a top 10 opponent at Autzen Stadium?
Yeah, I think first to start with the Penn State win, I mean, those are the defining wins. You know, it's a regular season win, and like we can say this, and you won't hear it from anybody that takes the field or coaches the teams, right? But those are big wins. We still talk about the big wins of years past, whether it was going to the Big House or it was, beating Oklahoma. Like those wins, they matter. When you go to a storied venue, when you go to a place that is considered a incredibly tough place to play against a team that is a worthy opponent like Penn State was. Penn State's really good. Yeah. Penn State is really stinking good. And I love that, Coach Lanning was saying, hey, we're a really good team too. Anytime people brought it up, those are big momentum wins. And it can be a momentum win for the program's future, this team, this season in 2025, that, there's going to be no flinching, and there never has been flinching. Win, lose, or draw. There haven't been a lot of losses over the last couple of years, but those are the ones that say you can go into a hostile environment and play with the best teams in the country. To have Indiana be ranked top 10, that's huge. Yeah. I mean, so many times it comes down to resume dissecting come late November when the college football playoff is coming out. And when you have marquee wins sprinkled throughout the course of a season, those are huge for your resume moving forward, and for whatever that may mean. But you sit there and you clear the first major hurdle of the season to the nation's eyes, right? But after that, you've got another big hurdle. And then once you do that, it can snowball into something really special.
He's Dusty Harrah roaming around on the sidelines for us again, coming up when the Ducks are back at Autzen against Indiana. I want to leave you with this. I've second-guessed having a framed photo like you discussed behind you. I think it needs to be on a sidewall so that Jerry and Jorgie aren't looking over your shoulder all the time.
That's a good call. That's a good call. I just will make sure it's not a mannequin like last Friday when Jerry put the hand on my shoulder. I knew it was coming, and it still got me.
Richard is here for you, Dusty.
Look, if Jerry and Jorgie are looking over my shoulder, there's far worse people in the world. So I think I could be happy with it, but I'll have to do something with these walls. It is bare. I didn't really even notice it until now. I'm looking at just white walls behind me.
Well,
I got to do something.
Now the question though is, are they over your left shoulder or are they over your right shoulder? And I'm not going to have you answer that question because we all know what. Dusty Harrah is our guest. Thanks, Dusty. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate you. Have a good one, man.
All right, we'll get a break. Come back. When we come back, some honors for Oregon cross country. Also, Tracy Joyner, Oregon soccer head coach, will be with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
It is Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Pretty cool for Oregon cross country as the team now gets ready for the Bill Dellinger Invitational at home coming up next week. Juliet Charubet, a junior out of Kenya, finished in 5th place at the Gons Creek Classic with a 6K time of 19:20.3. Athlete of the Week in the Big Ten Conference. Congratulations to Juliet. That was her cross country debut. Has worked in Oregon distances on the outdoor track and in the indoor track a little bit, but now in cross country, earning Big Ten Athlete of the Week honors, helped Oregon earn a 6th place finish as a team. Last time the Ducks had an Athlete of the Week was Maddie Elmore. Pretty good company around the Big Ten and the cross-country roster. Meanwhile, no coaches show for Oregon football tonight, but Oregon soccer will be back at home against USC at 1 o'clock on Friday. It is a Big Plus broadcast. KWVA's got the radio call as well. A 1 o'clock start for Oregon against USC on Friday. We went a little long with Coach Lanning and with Dusty, which means we take a break now and come back to talk with Tracy Joyner. Oregon soccer head coach Tracy Joyner joining us next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Oregon soccer is back at home this week. USC, a 1 o'clock opponent on Friday. Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. Yesterday afternoon, we sat down with Oregon soccer head coach Tracy Joyner. Time to talk a little soccer ahead of a matchup with USC on Friday at 1 o'clock. Tracy Joyner is here in the Country Financial Studio. Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm great.
We were just talking before we got going today about that 1 o'clock matchup, and we'll review the week that was. You want to win every game, Coach. There's no doubt about that. Let's start with Purdue, and then start with the response from your team against Indiana. What did you see from the Purdue matchup that led into that Indiana game?
Well, I thought we had a pretty decent showing for the most part till the last 6 minutes, and then the wheels fell off a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, Purdue is a really good team. That was a hard environment to play in after the travel, I think, for sure. Really? But, you know, I'm a no excuses type of gal, so we got to show up and be better in those moments moving forward. But, yeah, I think, you know, there were some positives there. I think it was a lot of good film to watch and review and try to implement on the next game, especially how to generate more opportunities on goal. That's been a point of focus for us, but it was tough giving up goals in the run of play. That was, you know, one of the first times for us in a few games that's happened. So
I know that's a point of focus for you as an individual, isn't it?
It was, no doubt. And so it exploited us a little bit, but it was good because we also were able to clean up some things.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, film review after a win and getting better is much more fun for a coach than film review after a loss. But I am curious, like, you know, team goes on the road, takes a lick. Like, how'd they respond heading into that Indiana matchup?
It was good. I think, you know, we talked a lot as a team just about, you know, like, why are we here? Why do we play? Just take the outcomes out of it. Like, not necessarily like what is our why or what is our purpose, but really, you know, what makes you love the game? How did you get to Oregon? Who helped you get here? And just really kind of have like a gratitude circle for where we've been and how we got here and how you support each other. And I think that gave us a little bit more clarity and some more emotion to work with going into that Sunday game. And I think it helped generate some goals for sure, because when you know more about your teammate and why they're here and their purpose, you're playing for something bigger than yourself. And any time you can influence that, you know, you get better performances.
Boy, that would be a powerful talk from a team. I mean, a lot of teams go through that, but it's one thing to talk about it, and then it's another thing to be like, whoa, wait, it probably got to be some heavy stuff from your team, I'd imagine.
It was. You know, some people had some really, you know, emotional stories and things to share, but I think in general, like, it was nice to hear that the majority of the players, you know, the reason that they are at Oregon is that they wanted to come build something and they wanted to be a part of change and affect change in a positive way. They knew essentially what they were signing up for by making that commitment and signing to come here and playing here. So it was nice to hear that everybody's kind of got this common goal and idea and awareness of the challenges that we face and what's ahead of them. So again, like the collective goal and understanding for what we want to achieve eventually, you know, was really nice to hear. And then now it's about actually putting those words and those feelings and emotions into action and practice.
And certainly easier said than done, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that. But against Indiana, I mean, not the greatest start, but then, man, second half, you were able to find the back of the net a few times. Now, you alluded to that a bit. That had to feel good for the team.
Oh, you know, it was funny. The first goal, I don't think I celebrated. I just felt like massive relief.
You were just like staying right in this spot.
I was like, we did it. Okay, great. You know, but then like you don't want to feel complacent or like apathetic. Right. Like, yeah, it felt great to get that first goal, but then that second goal was just such an awesome goal and a great finish that it brought new life. You know, that we haven't felt like a new energy in a long time. So
it's nice to see one go in, right? Like it adds. So many things can change.
Especially because after the first goal, I didn't believe it because he actually went back and did VAR to see if it was to make sure there wasn't an offsides. And I was like, please don't be offsides.
That would be the ultimate slap.
It would have been, and I was like, we don't need this. Like, please don't take this one away.
Yeah.
So
and they didn't. The soccer gods were good to you.
It was great. It was a very well-timed run and a great pass in. So, it was a great goal. And we talked about, like, most goals in college soccer are not pretty. They're not from nice builds. They're not from, clean finishes. It's just from doing the dirty work and the goal.
Why is that?
And I don't know. I mean, like, most teams, again, like, the mentality playing at this level is just, like, people are going to fight and they're going to do whatever they can. It's just really scrappy. And for there to be nice finishes, you have to have a really nice first touch that's consistent and a nice, like, pass in, whatever it might be, whether it's a cross or a slip or, through ball, whatever it is. But, yeah, like, there's so many things that have to go right for it to be really pretty. The most times it's just something like a misclearance or, like, a weird bouncy ball, or you're just athletic and you're running through something to generate, good opportunities. So, yeah, we just needed to be scrappy, and that's going to be our thing moving forward. So
I'm glad that you said that, because I was just about to ask you, like, so is that the identity? Like, is that what you want the rest of this season?
I mean, if you watch what happens to our team in between the 18s, that's going to have to be our thing, because we've got a lot of things to clean up, I think, technically, and just individual decision making to be a team that's going to be a really clean possession-based team. So that scrappiness in the box and the willingness to just kind of, I don't want to say sacrifice your body, but just to play hard and run through balls and, get in there and be competitive is going to be absolutely essential.
How do you drill that? Like, it's one thing to talk about it in film, but it's another to get out on the field. Especially, I know at this point in the season, like, rest is important too, right? Just take us inside the process. How do you handle some of those things?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just actually watching film and, like, identifying moments. Like, why was the decision there not to run through the ball? Why was the decision there to put your leg out instead? Like, just coachable moments that are really specific, and then hopefully, players recognize that, like, that wasn't the moment to make that decision, and then the next time that moment comes up again, like, we make a different decision. But yeah, again, like, it is mentality. It does take time to build, and we've said this a couple times the past few games. Like, we're out of time. Like, you either do it now, or, like, this is gonna continue to, like, go in this direction. So, and it's 100% mentality. It has nothing to do with, like, a tactical decision or formation. It's you deciding in that 1v1 battle that you want to be a dude and you want to go do it.
Tracy Joyner joining us. I actually wrote down on my bullet points that you had talked about, like, mentality games on a Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. But then also, it seems like a lot of what we've talked about is consistency. Mm-hmm. You're looking for consistency throughout the course of an entire match. Like, that's hard to do, right? Like, but is that maybe the ultimate key here? Like, you just want a consistent 90?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And again, it's hard to do, which is why it's hard to win games.
That's right.
That's the key, because, like, the consistency piece of the mentality also is a byproduct of your consistency technically.
I feel like you just made us a bumper sticker. Like, that was a, like, coach bumper sticker right there. So bravo. Bravo.
Thanks.
I'm all about branding.
That's right. Yeah, no doubt.
I ask it though because, like, you talk about it and the consistency has been just such a real focus, and one of them's gonna go this way. We know that, right?
I hope you're right. Yeah. I mean, I'm someone that's never gonna not believe. Like, that's not in my DNA. That's not who I am. Like, I'll never quit. I'll never stop, believing. That's just, you have to step onto every single game believing that you're going to win. Otherwise you never will. And so that's the only, thing that I can consistently count on myself that I would love to impart on my teams is, like, you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe in your team. Yeah. Otherwise the game's over before it started.
Draw against Indiana, again, always wanting the win. However, a little confidence offensively now?
Yeah. Some great goals. Like, obviously we needed that just to prove to ourselves that we could do it. And they were really nice, like, again, nice goals, like, just coming from a different, like, services, variation, different goal scorers, which was awesome. And yeah, I mean, that's like the way you build confidence is by doing things consistently. So, scoring 3 goals and a half, like, we've shown that we can do it. We've proven that we can do it. And so you hope in those moments moving forward, in those games moving forward, that you continue to believe, like, hey, we did this once, we can do it again.
Yeah, confidence is an amazing thing. In general, what are some of your keys to success on the defensive side now? What do you want to see from your team developing the rest of the season?
Gosh, honestly, it's like, it's not taking plays off. And unfortunately, we got bit a couple times there where you take one play off, and that's what comes back to get you. And those are the one time, I said this from day one, the one time you don't track your players, the one time that player gets the ball. And that's just how it goes. And it did.
The game knows.
The game knows. And so, unfortunately, like, again, the consistency defensively is like it's doing the small things. It's not just the big things. The long recovery runs to get back, like those are super, energetic, powerful moments. But like you got to do the small things too. Like that's where it comes down to is in the details.
Classes start this week, which I said this on the show earlier this week, Coach. Like to me, it's like, okay, the athletic season start like in August. First football game, then it's always after volleyball and soccer get going. It's like, okay. And then classes are starting and students are back. It's like you get these stepstones up to like an exciting time. Do you kind of feel that this week? I know time management's a thing, right, with student athletes, but do you kind of feel that way your first season? I
love fall. Like when fall weather starts, I'm like, oh, it's soccer season.
Right.
That's how it feels. So this morning I went out, like looked out, it was like a little bit, there was like rain on the ground, but it wasn't raining anymore. A little chilly. I was like, yes.
The leaves are starting to turn, as they say.
Yes. I was like, this is, well, it fall weather to me is always like it feels like playoff weather.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because and here it hits earlier, right? Like in California, fall and like the chill doesn't start till like the end of October, which that's playoff season. It kind of hits earlier here, so I'm like, oh, we're getting into playoffs, and I'm like, no, we still have a month of regular season, but yeah,
it feels that way though.
It does feel that way.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, like you've been around a lot of successful student athletes, like. Just the time management factor, too. I mean, that's a thing. It takes a lot of discipline to do what y'all are doing.
It does. And that's part of why our program motto, a lot of it is like how you do anything is how you do everything. And the time management piece is certainly a product of that, of like, you got to commit yourself to your academics. You got to commit yourself to like being a good person, get involved in different aspects on campus, maybe not during season, but, in different quarters. And, it's just habit building. That's all it is building good habits and being reliable and being consistent across the board, and that's how you have success, honestly.
And now how about, thanks to the soccer program, everybody gets to leave the office early on Friday, take the long lunch, the late lunch, a 1 o'clock start for Oregon against USC on Friday. So good scheduling.
Also, it is a scarf giveaway.
Let's go! We have 2 of the scarves in the studio. They're on the camera tripod.
I love those. Well, we've got I don't know, I don't want to misspeak, but I think it's first 200 or 500.
That sounds like a good answer. I'll take it.
Yeah, so come early. Yeah.
Come early.
Take the day off work. Come watch a soccer game.
I'm telling you, take the late lunch, and then, boss, Ducks won, had to be at Pape Field, got my scarf. Let's talk about fall weather.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Soccer just has such a great community around scarves. I actually don't know the origin of it. I don't know. Do you?
It's a European thing. Yeah. The soccer scarves for your local team.
You see them everywhere.
Yeah. So it's made its way into the U.S. soccer culture. So you just got your scarf.
I mean, so that can be soccer's item of clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like it. 1 o'clock against USC. 4 of the final 6 games on the schedule are at home. A lot of opportunities at Pape Field ahead. Just sum it up for us. What do you want to see? What do you see from USC? Some of the keys to success on Friday.
They've got a lot of talent for sure, but that's underdogs is fun. You want to be an underdog going to that game, and I'm sure that part of the mentality and the challenge for USC's coach is to make sure that their team doesn't come in complacent, like given our record. And for me, my message is like, let's take advantage of that, and get after it.
Somebody.
No doubt, and it's fun to take down a Trojan for sure. Being a former Bear, that's a rivalry that I will take any day and step into that for sure.
I am with you. So many off-air conversations that we will now press pause on the on-air conversation to have those. Tracy Joyner, head coach, Oregon Soccer. Best luck this weekend. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Talking soccer with Tracy Joyner, and we get a timeout here to come back, wrap things up. Weekend preview after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs, and for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Wrapping up Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Heard from Dan Lanning earlier. If you missed it on today's show, head to the Go Ducks YouTube. We've got you covered there with Dan Lanning's weekly press conference that occurred on a Wednesday instead of a Monday because it's a work week, and then he'll meet with the media again on a Monday for his weekly press conference before finishing up his weekly media availability next week, next Wednesday. That'll be the final time that we hear from him before the Ducks play Indiana. In other words, Coach Lanning met with the media today, and it's on the Go Ducks YouTube if you missed it today. Also, subscribe to the Oregon Sports Network podcast if you ever want to listen to any of our stuff on demand. I actually got a few notes from people that were like, hey, having the Penn State football game broadcast available on the OSN podcast was great. People just went back. If they watched the game, then they could listen to Jerry and Jorgie, Dusty, myself calling the game. That was fun to hear. So those of you who reached out, I appreciate that. Those of you who are like, man, I would love to hear what the radio call sounded like apart from the highlights that were in Ducks versus them. Well, you can on the OSN podcast feed. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for Oregon Sports Network. Oregon volleyball in action, 6 o'clock on Friday. We covered Oregon soccer with Tracy Joyner, covered Oregon football with Dusty Harrah, but Oregon volleyball is also in action this week. 6 o'clock starts on both Friday and Saturday. Green out Matthew Knight Arena against Iowa on Friday at 6 o'clock. On tomorrow's show, guess what? Kelly Graves joins us. See you then.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb.